What's going on, everyone? Gig Accountant here. My name is Naz and I'm a licensed CPA in the state of New Jersey. I'm also a gig economy worker working on food delivery platforms such as Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Postmates. Our affiliate links are down below. If you're interested in signing up into one of those, you will receive a bonus after completing a certain amount of drives. So yeah, in this video I wanted to share my thoughts regarding maximizing your earnings as a food delivery driver on these platforms. So, when you are trying to maximize your earnings, there are two ways you're going to go about doing it. You have to either maximize your revenue and or minimize your costs. So let's talk about maximizing your earnings. How can you do that? Well, it will depend on exactly which platforms you are working with, and whether or not you're on blocks. But generally speaking, there are a couple of ways to maximize your earnings. One is minimizing downtime, dead time. How can you do that? And what does that mean? Well, when you are on these apps, there are times where you will, for instance, let's say you are on DoorDash, you'll receive a delivery, go make the delivery, and once that's completed, there'll be some dead time between you getting a new delivery and headed over there. How can you minimize that time? Would be by a couple of ways. One is multi-apping, using multiple platforms, multiple applications, so that you are ensuring that you are getting to that next delivery as quickly as possible, or getting that next delivery as quick as possible. The other way is making sure that you are driving to somewhere where there is a high volume of deliveries, so you are more likely to get that next order quickly. And once you do get that next order, you're likely to be in the area or around the area where you will be headed to for a restaurant. So hey, let's say that you receive an order and you finish that order up. Instead of just waiting outside that customer's area, that customer's residence where you just made that order, start headed over to where the heavy traffic, the heavy volume of restaurants are, because there's a good chance that your next order will be over there. And you being close to it boosts your chance of receiving that next order. So minimize that dead time. The next thing you can do to maximize your earnings is cherry pick. Now, when I say cherry pick, some folks think of cherry picking as doing nothing but picking the orders that has the highest payout. I don't necessarily recommend that. My form of cherry picking is more based on travel time. How far is the next order? So, for instance, in my new region, my new market, from one end of the market to the other end of the market can be 25 miles. So, and for these orders, I'll go ahead and reject it because it's just not worth my time traveling 25 miles for a $8 payout to a pretty dead region. So that's where I would cherry pick for small. But if it's like a small order, like a $4, $5, $6 order, but it's not too much of a distance, I'll just go ahead and do it. That's not what I cherry pick based on. But yeah, intelligent cherry picking is another way to maximize your earnings doing this type of gigs, the food delivery gigs. And how you cherry pick, it's going to be based on your own market and your own personal situations and circumstances. So yeah, those are the two main ways of maximizing your earnings doing this: eliminating dead time or minimizing dead time between orders, and intelligent cherry picking. So and there's one more additional thing, but this is more of a random and it's not guaranteed, and that is providing exceptional customer service. If you are providing exceptional customer service, your customer is more likely to give you a higher tip amount. Now, this is a little bit more hit or miss because you can provide the best service in the world and the customer may not give you any tip. So that's something that you just, in average over the long term, it will boost your tip amount over the long term. But how much, it's hard to say. So yeah, those are the 3 ways to maximize your earnings, your income, your revenue doing this. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, it's minimizing your expenses, and that's another way to maximize your income. And this is actually a quicker way to do it, because for each dollar that you minimize your expense is more than each dollar you gain maximizing your revenue. And the reason being taxes. Each dollar of taxes is, well, each dollar of revenue is taxed, but each dollar of expense you decrease is that dollar decrease. So $1 of revenue is actually tax affected, less than $1, but decreasing $1 of expense is you're actually receiving that dollar. So it's something to think about. So ways to decrease your expenses doing this food delivery gig jobs. Some of them can be more pricey, such as driving a more fuel efficient car. This will cut down on your fuel costs, obviously. Driving an older car, so that depreciation cost isn't as much of a factor. Making sure that you're taking all your tax deductions, and this is a huge one because there is a standard rate that you could apply, or you could apply all the expenses associated with your car. And this is for any sort of gig economy work where you're driving your car. This is a huge item because it can substantially reduce the amount of your taxable income that you are that is taxable. So it's something that you need to make sure that you're tracking, because the IRS requires you, in order to take these deductions, you need to be tracking this. Now, I recommend for most folks to take the standard deduction, but you can record both and see how it shakes out. But the standard deduction usually is just more simpler, and there are apps to help you with recording this. So you can do this through apps, or you can just do the old-fashioned method of just like having a log in your car, a book, notepad, and just writing that down. The miles driven today and the date. Then there are apps such as Stride Tax, Everlance, and Mile IQ, which will help you with recording your miles. I like out of the 3, I like Everlance the best because it automatically records the miles, and it is a free service. Mile IQ does the same, but it starts it pretty much requires a paid subscription after a certain amount of trips. And for Stride Tax, I like that too, but you have to remember to turn it on. And since I do this as a side gig, sometimes there are times that I'm rushing out of work, my main job, and I just forget to turn it on. But it's also good to have multiple apps running together so you can like compare the distance recorded, because it's not 100% accurate. And just to make sure that you're recording everything. So yeah, those are the ways to minimize your expenses. More fuel efficient car, drive a more fuel efficient car. Drive an older car where you're not concerned about the depreciation, and ensure that you're taking all your tax deductions. Okay, that's all I got to say for today's video. I hope it was informative, and as I mentioned before, I'm a licensed CPA, if you need any support with your taxes from a tax professional, I provide tax preparation and planning services as well as consulting work. My rates are subject to my own discretion and subject to change, but I am currently charging $100 per hour, so feel free to get at me. And that's all I got to say. So happy hustling and have a great day.